Okay, so I'm going to give a really quick introduction and demo of robotic process automation. So, robotic process automation is something that people are a little bit familiar with if they've spent any time creating or using macros in the likes of Excel or Word or other office applications. But typically, those kind of macros exist just in one Word document or one template or one Excel sheet, as it were. RPA is a bit similar to those sorts of automations, programmatically telling the system to do something within an application. But one of the biggest differences is that it can go across multiple different pieces of software that are running on your laptop or your desktop. So, it can log into a piece of software that's installed on your desktop. It can open a browser and log into an online system. It can manipulate data in Excel. Typically, what we're doing is we're looking for repetitive manual processes. So any time that you can spot somebody that's doing something on a kind of regular schedule, so once a day or once a week or once an hour, and they're having to read through a list of rules or a list of steps and say, right, I need to go and open up this application, download this report, open it up in Excel, manipulate the data, import it into a template, maybe upload it to another system, maybe send it on an email as a report to somebody else. Those sorts of rule-based, step-by-step processes that somebody's just doing, on a schedule, just repetitively. Those are the sorts of processes we're looking for. And typically, they're either processes that take a long time and happen relatively infrequently, maybe once a week and takes 2 or 3 hours, or processes that maybe don't take as long. They might take 5 minutes, but they're done very, very regularly. So they're done multiple times a day. And those sorts of repetitive processes are taking employees' focus away from more value-added tasks. So if you've got a finance team that's pulling together reports from different types of spreadsheet that are sent across a group of companies, for instance, then isn't their time much better spent on other finance tasks rather than just doing that manual data manipulation and report creation? Those sorts of kind of things. Now, typically when we're doing RPA demos, we will have spoken to the customer, got some idea of the existing process, whether it's kind of feasible, whether there's likely to be a return on investment. But often people want a little bit of education around what's the possibility, what's the art of the possibility. And when we're doing demos on the art of the possibility, we'll either use pre-recorded proof of concept type approaches. So, proof of concepts we've done with other customers who don't mind us sharing the recording of that. Or we'll do something like we'll see today, which is a bit more generic in our own demonstration environment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a bot that's going to run between a few different applications. So it's going to open up our information management tool that we resell. Therefore, it's going to perform a search within Therefore to go off and find some information. It's going to copy that information that it's found in Therefore and transfer it across to an Excel spreadsheet. So it's going to open up Excel and create a new workbook. It's going to do some very simple data manipulation. So it's going to sum up some values in that data it's copied. It's then going to close down Excel, but then open up Notepad and just type back into the screen the information that it's found from that process. And that shows a bot that's moving across multiple different pieces of software, Therefore information management, Excel, Notepad. It's navigating around the menu systems, it's manipulating the data it finds, and then it's presenting it back in the format that we want to present it back. Bots can do many more kind of clever things and complex things, but this gives you a really kind of good introductory feel as to some of the things that are possible. So what I've done on screen at the moment is I've just started the bot runner application in the background. So it's sat there now waiting for a command. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show this bot running now. So typically bots are run on a schedule. So they'll be set up to run in the background, maybe overnight if that's when the data becomes available for it to be able to do its job, or maybe more regularly than that. But again, on a schedule, once an hour, once every 10 minutes, whatever it might be. Sometimes bots are run on demand in attended mode, and this can be quite helpful if you've kind of got part of your process that is highly suited to automation, but maybe part of the process needs to be done manually. So, for instance, we've got a customer at the moment that has to physically go through a box of items and scan some barcodes into a spreadsheet halfway through a process. So the bot runs to start off with and sets up some information, fills out a spreadsheet, gets it ready for them. They open the spreadsheet, scan the barcodes. Once they're done, they finish off the process with the bot again. So there are times when it could be useful to run like that. But yeah, I'm going to double click it and run it. And as it runs, what you'll see is that we'll get some feedback on screen about what's happening. So down in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen now, you'll see once the bot is happy and it's working, it started execution, and then you'll see it do a number of things. So it's opening up our information management system therefore now, which is opened up. It's clicking on screen to navigate the menu system, so you can see it opening up the purchase invoice category there. It's doing a search for a particular supplier's set of invoices, this beach packaging supplier. It's copying that information out of that information management system. It's opening up Microsoft Excel. It's creating a blank workbook to use to manipulate that data. It will copy those rows of data that it had out of or paste, I should say, those rows of data it had out of the system there. And then it's going to sum the values of those rows. So we'll see it again, kind of working through the menu system within Excel here to add some formulas in to be able to get the total of the rows there. And then finally, it's going to close that Excel spreadsheet and type into Notepad what the value of those invoices were. So quite a simple demonstration, but shows a lot of the aspects of RPA, moving between different systems, navigating menu systems, responding to pop-ups, manipulating data within Excel, reporting it back, in this case in Notepad, but maybe via email. So those are the sorts of things that it can do. Obviously, that's very broad, so lots of opportunity is the good news, lots of different processes to be able to automate. And just remember maybe the sorts of things that you're looking for are repeatable business rule-based processes. So if somebody's doing something time and time again in exactly the same way every single time, and they're either doing it frequently enough or it takes enough time when they do it, then those are good processes that potentially could make use of RPA.